city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is October 21st, YC127. And boy, are they trying to cover up the fact that we haven't had a presidential election yet for the Glente. It is expansion discussion time. This is the Eve Universe Show. Welcome, 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 guys. We do have a lot to discuss today. So we are definitely going to be discussing the expansion that was just announced this morning. But we actually already had pretty full video for you guys today, full show for you guys today. Even before, how can you have an expansion? The Glente aren't real. Even before this announcement came out, today was already going to be a pretty lively day. Oh, how can you have a good an election? Okay, whatever. Either way. So, but we also have a lot of stuff to cover from last week and such. It's been challenging. I guess all I'm going to say is I've been talking to my supporters, my supporter chat in Discord. Thank you to them. If you are a supporter, make sure you get in there. But like the TLDR is parenting is rough when you're for a 12-year-old autistic boy in 2025. And so, just trying to navigate everything and keeping all my spoons together for that, and knowing that like you guys like being able to stream requires a lot of focus and whatnot, and even editing and stuff. So, but today is the only day off of the last day of school for this week, because there's parent-teacher conferences. But because of this expansion update, I am going to be trying to stream on Thursday as well, because there is a live test on Thursday where we're actually going to be able to look at a lot of this stuff. So we are going to be talking more about this expansion then, and of course the moments, everything leading up to that in November. But we have so much to cover before we even get to that point, because there's the Crimson Harvest, there's the CSM elections, what is it? Gosh darn it. The other thing that happens, the tournament, the Alliance tournament, et cetera, lots of stuff going on. So buckle up. Today we're going to go over a lot of grounds. We will probably save the Catalyst expansion stuff towards the end of the show. We're going to discuss old news first and current events, and then we'll do as much talking about Catalyst as we can today. And then, of course, hopefully on Thursday, I will be on the test server where we can discuss more of the details. Either way, let's go ahead and kick things off. How's it going, guys? I've got myself my extra cup of coffee in my Convocation of Empyreans mug. I would be using my invited mug, but it broke. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to get my water out of my son's invited water bottle. These things are actually really good. Like it's a water bottle. They're very sturdy construction. Even on the top of it, you can have it like customized. So I don't know if you see this, but it says Little Ash on it. So yeah, these and others are down below. Should be either way. I carry on. So let's jump into the current events. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the event, the Crimson Harvest. We have patch notes. The patch notes from the 17th. So this is actually from 4 days ago, where they did a lot of changes to the biocybernetic sites. So this is actually one of the reasons why I didn't release my video about how to do the because I explain exactly when the different things happen, and then they changed exactly when the different things happened. So I probably will actually want to run some extra sites in order to show it again. But honestly, if anything, it's gotten easier. In fact, we can go over to HoboLeaks and see here that the Relentless Venture, basically, is the structure hit points is down by a quarter. Is that a quarter? Yeah. Shield capacity. everything's basically down by 25% on the Adventure. The Garmers are down by like 80%, like by 20%, so 80% of power total. So everything kind of got nerfed a little bit. So, you know, there is that. So the sites are a little bit easier, but it also changed some of the spawn orders. The big details are all the same. The big spawns are still at 300 and 500, et cetera, et cetera. But I also want to stream it again, or I want to do more of the sites live because I want to show off. Oops, that's not the right one. Hold on. I want to show off this awesome effing skin. Okay, I get it, you know, whatever. By the way, for the record, he does not pay me to do this. He does provide me the skin, but he's provided me several skins, and several of them I have not decided to show off like this. But, you know, we obviously have been showing off last time how comfortable this is with the Mecha Ball. I've actually blinged out my fit a little bit more than it needs to be in order to make it even more comfortable. But also the fact that they nerfed it means that you one-shot a lot of the ships now instead of two-shot. But this skin here is by our very own Punchanello, who was talking in chat a little bit ago. He did amazing work with the stuff. And if you want to get your own, you can actually go into Paragon Hub. Hold on. Where is the Paragon Hub? Oh yeah, Paragon Services. Is it just in Ship Skinner? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. And go to the Mecha Ball skin section. And hopefully they're still here. Yeah. So you can actually, he has one available for 105 Plex, and he has one available for 600 million ISK. So whichever one you want to pick up, depending on however much you want to pay it. If these are no longer available when you go to pick it up, you can always just message Punchanello, and I'm sure he'll print you off another one. There is an alternative version, by the way, that's 127 Plex and 675 million ISK, which has this extra kind of teal shine to it, which I might actually have to go buy from him because it also looks really good. God, that looks good. Anywho, yeah, just absolutely wanted to showcase this because Punch does awesome stuff, and this one is more awesome than normal, I would say. I'm also glad to see him kind of breaking out of his mold and trying new different patterns. He always likes to do stuff with whatever is just come out. So either way, thanks, Punch. Let's carry on. Yeah. There is more. Hold on, we're getting there. There is more shuttle spawns. That also means that there is far more often a shuttle spawn right about the same time as the squall spawns. So I've gotten to the point where I kill the final spawn and I keep the loot window open, and then as soon as the thing picks up or shows up, I loot it and then scoop the MTU and then start chasing after the squall. Any rate, so fixed an issue where the formidable Orthrus NPC could remain. Okay, cool. Rebalanced. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, increase the spawn frequency of all automated extraction shuttles. That also means that the rewards have increased, too, by definition, because they are a chunk of the reward. Oh, no! Hold on. This is a nightmare. Hold on. I knew this was going to happen. I hope everything's okay. Hold on. All right, hold on. Sorry, my son tries to get out of school every day at this point, so I had to tell him, not even a little bit. You know, you're not the only person to have said that has Spider-Man vibes. Hold on, is this gonna work now? Hold on. Shit. Oh my god. Hold on. Oh, what a nightmare. Stand by. Not gonna work. Wait, why aren't you work? God, hold on. Unbelievable. Why is this now suddenly not working at all? Hey, now it's just aimed wrong. That is not great. Hold on. It's gonna work mostly, kind of. Sure, whatever. Good enough for you guys. All right, sorry. Now it's not. Now it's too low. Hold on. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine here. Okay. Yeah, no, today's dev blog is awesome. You lost a letter. Wait, what? Hold on. Okay. Whew. Sorry about all that. Dang it. That's like my nightmare. I got to figure out what to do about that when it happens. Okay, either way, not the point. Let's keep going. The difficulty for the hacking sites have been improved. And this is actually super useful because, like, this was horrible. The fact that the escalations had a beacon that could be warped to by anybody was absolutely absurd. Not okay, and made it very hard for those things to be done safely in low sec or null sec or wherever. So, you know, I'm glad that at least the beacon is not warpable anymore. That's a handy. This is now tilted. I keep tilting my head because the camera's tilted. I may just have to go get myself a real webcam again. Whatever. We're going to do what we can. Okay. Let's see. And but that was it for the patch notes and the new sites. So just a reminder, this week, not this week, but next week, 1 week from now, is when they extend the track to include the new events, or like the extra rewards, including the BPC for the Crimson Harvest. So that is in 7 days that starts. Also, because it's Tuesday, just a reminder to get your skill points for the week. But that said, let's jump into the New Eden news for the day at about the 20-minute mark. All right. So we're going to do the New Eden news about the Hollow Clones and the Crimson Harvest. Let's see. Shoot. Everything is now messed up. All my orientation, how everything looks. My desk is visible now. It's terrible. Oh my God, it needs to be pointed up again. You know what? It's just going to be tilted. We're just going to be okay with it being tilted. Okay, either way. Looks fine. Okay, well, I'll take your word on that. All right. Zoom in. Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. This is your New Eden news for October 14th, YC127, Crimson Harvest, and the genesis of the Hollow Clones. Last week, the Blood Raiders' annual Crimson Harvest returned to our cluster. Once more, the cluster is gripped by the threat of bloodthirsty hunting parties and the fear of fallout from the violent clashes with the Order of St. Tetramon. This year, however, reports have reached the scope that both Blood Raiders and Tetramon pilots have begun attacking abandoned Upwell Consortium facilities. Here to explain this unusual shift in behavior is investigative reporter Johanna Mosquioso? There's a Q without a U. That's not legal. Dr. Huang and the advent of the Hollow Clone. On the planet of Te-Su in the Lursatan system, there is a necropolis. In that ancient city of dead stands the mausoleum of a once great family. Amidst the hundreds of rows of generations laid to rest, one coffin lies empty. Empty, that is, save 2 small trophies. The name on that coffin is Dr. Huang Rudolfo, once the pride of a planet, now its greatest shame. The most prestigious of these entombed trophies was awarded in YC127, the Yin Mei Science Award for Achievements in Cybernetics. The triumph of this award was, unfortunately, quickly overshadowed by its greater legacy. For the Blood Raiders, he will be remembered for flinging open the gates to glory. For the Order of St. Tetramon, he was the father of abominations. For the Upwell Consortium, he is a mistake best forgotten. The reason for all these responses is the same: the Hollow Clone. Huang Rudolfo grew up a member of the Yin Mei ruling Sangdo caste. Through generations of poor financial management, had left his family rich only in heritage. His mother, an immigrant from the nearby system of Ardain, refused to allow her son to wallow in his father's fallen status. What just happened? What was that sound? That sound was my camera dying. Maybe? We may have to just go without a camera. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Son of a bitch. I don't care anymore. We're going without a camera. I apologize. Literally, my phone just died. I don't know why. It should be like, we're just going without a camera. I'm sorry. Wow. I am trying hard not to become frustrated. Hold on. We can pull up my my character. Do. There you go, guys. Here's who's talking. Can't you tell? Let us continue. I don't know how the edited version of this is going to look, but we're just going to keep going. Oof. All right. Hey, it's technical difficulties day, but we're muscling through it no matter what. For the Upwell Consortium, okay. Yes, we're a VTuber now. We're just going to start with his story. Huang Rudolfo grew up a member of the Yin Mei ruling Sangdo caste, though generations of poor financial management had left his family rich only in heritage. His mother, an immigrant from the nearby system of Ardennes, refused to allow her son to wallow in his family's fallen status. Rudolfo recalled in an interview by the Interplanetary Media Network, quote, "Whatever I took an interest in, my mother would push me to be the best. It is thanks to her that I learned the greatness often comes at the cost of comfort," end quote. She pushed me to perform ballet as a child, Rudolfo reflected with a broad smile, continuing, "I was not a natural. My mother told me that I was a smart boy, but that my overthinking was an obstacle I had to surmount. So I practiced until I did not need my brain to know where my feet should be, and soon I could jet as easily as I could walk. This is the grace of action, unencumbered by thought," end quote. This was the key revelation that would earn Huang that buried trophy. Hired by Eifer & Co. after completing his doctorate, Huang was assigned to improve workforce efficiency for the Upwell Consortium's Equinox suite. The mecha tooling upgrade he developed allowed workforce clones to elegantly control construction mechs with a reflexive interface. Unlike the neural interfaces used by Capsuleers, Huang's invention connected the nervous system directly to external technology, bypassing the brain entirely. The innovation was hailed as a triumph, and Huang became a celebrity in the cybernetic field. His new interface meant untrained workers could control machines as if they were part of their own bodies. But for Huang, success was not enough. His goal was greatness. When he was handed the Yinmei Science Award, he leaned into the microphone and whispered, "Just wait till you see what's next." The true potential of the reflexive interface, Huang theorized, was still to come. To achieve that, he proposed a new device, the Cybernetic Neural Lattice, or CNL, a bridge between reflexive inputs and a lattice of neural networks working in harmony. With this increased power, he aimed to enable the average workforce clone to not just execute simple tasks, but to also instantly master complex skills. The Upwell Consortium sank trillions into its development, constructing hundreds of research facilities. With all that investment, Huang was under constant scrutiny. To satisfy his backers, he arranged a simple test. At every experimental site, clone banks that did not yet support infomorphs would receive the new implants. These clone banks would then be hooked up to a simple set of security protocols to see if the system could register basic reflex responses from the bodies. When the bodies first lurched off the operating tables, the researchers were shocked, too shocked to run. The bodies should have moved the system, not the other way around. If they had foreseen that the system could also instruct the body, perhaps things would have gone differently. Instead, hundreds died across the cluster before the first alarm was even sounded. The bodies, propelled by corrupted security systems, tore through every facility with blood-curdling efficiency. Then, they took to the ships. Exactly what went wrong is still unknown, but somehow monsters without minds took to space with a singular goal: kill everything they see. Without infomorphs, they were dubbed holoclones. If the story had ended there, Upwell would have quarantined the site and the horrible tale may have gone untold. Instead, it occurred just as the Blood Raiders prepared for their clone hunt. The Raiders perverted this tragedy into a challenge. Many young sect members have descended on the newly destroyed biocybernetics facilities looking to prove themselves against the hordes of holoclones. Some have even survived. The Order of St. Tetramon has also rushed to combat the holoclones. For this storied sect, a body acting without a soul is an abomination that must be destroyed. Though they have remained unwavering in their usual animosity against the Blood Raiders, the two groups now find themselves fighting the same enemy. There is no threat of cooperation, however, as the Blood Raiders, every hollow destroyed by the Tetramon is a source of clone blood that they have been denied. And for the Tetramon, every site of Blood Raiders' claim, it only adds to the heresy. What started as a dream for grace has mutated into a cautionary tale of blood-soaked brutality. Juan Rudolfo was on site when the disastrous malfunction occurred, and while his exact fate remains uncertain, there was no known survivors. The violence surrounding these experimental sites have prevented any attempts at recovering bodies. All his grieving mother could do was bury the award that once made her son the prize of Lursatin, side by side with the child's ballet trophy and the dream it unlocked. News in brief. Winter Coalition and the Initiative clash in Fade region after Initiative accused of betrayal. The Initiative denies existence of alleged agreement with Winter Coalition. Upwell promises inquest into holoclone disaster, refuses to set date. SOCT reports detect ripples indicating drifter wormhole occupiers have ramped up hyperspace network testing. Natural gas explosion prevented on HZO refinery holdings by native bird population. Home Guard presents results of secret investigation report to close CEP session. Concord failed to prove connection between rogue drone activity and Federal Aid Act. And that is it for your New Eden News on October 14th, YC127. Now for some analysis. Okay, well, first of all, if you're watching this edited, my camera went out in the middle of that, so thanks for rolling with it. But this is a very interesting New Eden News. This is obviously the New Eden News that we were waiting for with the release of Crimson Harvest, because the nature of these holoclones is not really well defined in game. So this is a lot of additional information for what they all are. Including this idea of Juan Rudolfo, who actually has shown up in the New Eden News about a month ago for gaining this award for the cybernetics. So this was part of the thing about we were guessing it was associated with that, especially since the in-game item also has talks about Hrong Wodalfo. Although it was originally a typo, they have corrected that now, so it is all correct and everything. So there you go. So now we kind of have an idea of what's going on and what is happening here. So the Upwell clones are a little bit different than the standard clones, obviously. They have a different way of kind of controlling the clone body versus the infomorph than standard Capsuleers or even the old Drifter clones. I mean, not the old Drifter clones, but the old Dust 514 clones. But this is this is a continuation of these. So like the clones in Upwell are very much standardized and, you know, plain. But the idea here is, and we've seen this in the Equinox Suite videos before, of the idea of like clone bodies. Actually, hold on a second. Let me pull that up real quick. Let me see if I can pull this up. I hope this doesn't get me copyrighted or whatever, but here we go.
Capacitor cores check is okay. Fusion cores are primed for ascent.
Copy that. The team is ready to release the hold in T-minus 2 minutes.
All right, just skipping a little bit. No, they don't show it there. All right, hold on. Because then it's one of the ads. Is it the it's the old guy, right? Yeah, Seize the Dream. Here we go. Is this it? Maybe this is it?
To shape destiny is within all of us.
I think it shows it here.
With Upwell, you can shape the universe.
This one, right?
Unlocking the potential of the stars and planets you call home has been the unwavering focus of our finest minds. And now, we stand on the cusp of a new era. Introducing Equinox. An unrivaled suite of solutions for a new age of colonization. Revolutionary structures that offer unprecedented system-wide control.
Yeah,
all
is it right
operated
here?
and maintained by an efficient and skilled workforce. Embrace the freedom to shape space in your image and seize the dream of a star.
We suck at this, don't we? All right, hold on. A new life with Upwell. Today is... Bear with me.
I always dreamt that one day I'd make it. Do something great. See the stars.
This has it, right?
But sometimes
No, this...
reality has different ideas.
Am I having like a moment?
I remember those dreams starting to slip away. Those
Yeah, but this
doors,
doesn't have it either.
they never opened for me.
Does it? Maybe it does.
Until now. Because with Upwell, it's never too late.
Okay, you can't see my look of disappointment, but there is a video of within these Upwell videos, or the Equinox Suite videos, that shows a dude using a forklift type device, kind of like from the Aliens movie, right? So the point is that, okay, whatever. Too far down the rabbit hole, apparently. Let's rein it back in. Where are we? Why? Yeah. So either way, the point is that like there have been, we have seen images of like Upwell using these like forklift operations and stuff like that. And so the idea is that normally these kind of controls, like interfacing with our nervous systems, have to go from jacking in, you know, like these jacks in the back of my head here. You know, this is how we jack into our pod. So that way we can see the experience that we see in space, right? Because like our experience in space is not like, obviously, like as a capsuleer, we experience the universe as our ship. Like we can just look around everything. The camera drones are giving us this kind of 3D mapping of space around us. So we are the ship, as it were. And it hooks into our nervous system through that plug in the back of the head in order to allow us to interface with the other ship systems. Now, it's worth noting this is separate from like the cloning system, right? This is just how the pod works. The pod functions as a neural interface between the pilot and the ship itself. But that hooks in through the brain. What this system that Huang is working on is basically a neural lattice that can be built into, I assume, like the skin itself. So it interfaces with the nervous system, bypassing the brain itself in the same sort of way as like somebody would make like a robotic arm today that hooks into the nerves that already exist to wire into the hand in order to, or the arm, in order to try to like allow the brain to control the new hand as if it is their own hand, right? It's that, but on a big scale. So that's what he got awarded for. So then he's like, okay, well, this interface can also link into the brain via this new neural interface. So that way, like, the brain can link to the web, which links to other systems. So that allows us, and the critical thing here is this is the other piece of being capsuleer, right? What are they looking for here? What they're looking for is our skill system, right? Vanguard doesn't have a skill system. You just have all the skills. In EVE Online, you train the skills over time. The whole thing is that like your infomorph is having information effectively injected and stitched into it over time, which is our skilling system. And so that's why there's this discussion is talking about untrained workers, because it's saying like, okay, well, not only can we take untrained workers and get them to use equipment as if it's their own body, that's cool. That makes it so that untrained workers can still use our complicated forklift systems. What we really want to do is be able to train them, right? What if we can inject information into the brain in the same way that we can with capsuleers, right? And so that's what this interface, I believe, is what they're saying it's all about, right? Because he enabled the average workforce clone to not just execute simple tasks, but also instantly master complex skills. We're talking about right access, basically, to the brain. And so they linked this thing up to their security protocols, you know, so they took these basically brain dead, these clones that should be able to function with basic reflexes, but don't have an infomorph installed into them yet, and hooked it up with their lattice to his existent reflexive interface in order to try to send some basic carrier signals and stuff to the body to make sure it's actually working, right? So, you know, these brains that have the neural lattice hooked into it, and therefore it's all hooked together, but they're hooking up the other interface to this larger system to be like, hey, if I tell you that your hand is being hit, do you actually feel like, does it respond reflexively as if his hand got hit? Right? That's the whole test. Hey, thank you for that gifted sub. Helix? So, but the problem is that, like, while normally the brain should be able to like, or the body should reflex and affect the system, because this channel now exists into the brain. Yeah, I'm having a like a what's it called? Mandala effect moment. It's okay. I've been having a lot of those with Legion. Anywho, but the problem is, I believe now there are, something went wrong. So I'm going to fill in a bit of a gap there, which is that we have an example of a computer system, especially an artificial intelligence, anything that's involving artificial intelligence, or FTL communication, being overridden and exploited, especially when there are open bodies ready for infomorphs. And this idea of attempting to kill everything and destroy everything they see actually is sort of reminiscent in a way, especially since they say blood-curdling efficiency, right? So they're efficient, even though it talks about how hyper-aggressive they are in the game. These things are very efficient and have their tasks kind of set ahead of them. There's a lot of evidence now that this is sabotage by the other. The other is the artificial intelligence that emerged within the the sleeper constructs. The other has begun to emerge from the sleeper constructs in the form of the drifters. But even before this, the earliest things that we knew about the other, he was able to detect an infomorph clone hop and write himself into the brain by coordinating a little bit with Felix Grange in order to stitch itself into the brain of Jamil Sorum and corrupt her, but also has been able to be kind of generally disruptive in other ways. And so, once he was in Jamil, he was able to hop into the AI systems and the cybernetics of the guy who communicated. So in Templar 1, there's the dude who talks to Grius. Marcus talks to Grius, finds out about the other. He uses his implants to reach out to Jamil and warn her. The other hops back over and basically begins to attack his nervous system in order to create a response by the medics, as they the medical drones, as they slice him apart to try to fix the system. But it's really just the other fucking with him, so it's like a super painful death. But he was able to take over his systems. He was able to hop the chain over from the FTL communication with the implants, and then hop from there into the systems of the computer, of the ship. So this is very consistent with the kind of havoc that the other would entail. And of course, at some point, I would imagine that the Vanguard plot will begin to dabble with the other. So this could be a whole new chain of events where it's like a new threat that kind of emerges for Vanguard to toy around with. But, the other and the drifters have been pretty prominent in the storyline recently, especially the drifters. And I've always said that the reason why the drifter storyline in part was kind of held off was because the shooter was offline. The shooter is the environment to explore this kind of more man on the ground kind of environment with things like the other. And so, there's a very good possibility that that's where this is going. But we're just going to have to see. Let me know if you have your own theories about it. But the other interesting thing about this is that this has also been a really good example of, so in the past, CCP has used lore event or the normal annual events to do lore-y stuff. But in the past, that actually messed things up, because then the next year they would have to change things or whatever. Given the fact that these are just additional sites as part of the Crimson Harvest, all they have to do is make it so that these additional sites don't necessarily spawn and they can go back to normal. So this is an interesting use of the ongoing plot and the event stuff at the same time, which is, remember, this is important because, a little bit of a spoiler, the next expansion is all going to be exploration and mining related, right before we have the Winter Nexus, which is all about exploration and mining and using filaments to teleport to different areas of space. So chances are, you know, these things are not all coincidences. All right, let's see. Anything else to talk about from here? It is interesting that they talk about the fact that these guys are competing over it, because it, you know, in the event, you choose whether or not you want to be part of Blood Raiders or Tetramon, and Tetramon guys have to run Blood Raider sites in order to get points, and Blood Raiders have to run Tetramon sites to get points. You don't get points for running your own side, but both sides get points for running the biosecurity sites, which leads me to wonder, it'd be kind of cool, and it's kind of sad that there isn't, especially with the way this is said. There should be a way for us to know, like, so when we're doing sites for one side or the other, are we contributing to their overall objectives, right? Is it going to be, in the end, you know, if more sites are done by Order of St. Tetramon loyal, people have, you know, become loyal to the Order of St. Tetramon for this event, one thing happens, and if Blood Raiders, another thing happens. That this seems to set that up, but I haven't seen anything mechanically that CCP is doing to make that true. But remember, the apex of this event starts next week, so it will be worth paying attention to. I do like the fact that this news in brief does talk about real player stuff in a way that sounds like almost like something that would be reported anyway. So it's like, accused of betrayal. We never had an agreement, right? Like, we've seen things like that in the news in briefs several times before, so it's kind of good. I'm disappointed that once you finish the tracker, it no longer keeps track of your points. I think that that's a hack to make it so that you do have to return next week in order to continue, right? Because the idea is that if you could earn those points now, then you would just still have the track be finished when the week happens. So right now, the track for us is paused at 900. And then next week it'll allow us to resume. And I presume that after that we'll be able to go above 900. I've always been sad that there is no like record. I want to be able to see how many points I've gotten on any given event. It's actually been like an ongoing thing where I don't do the event nearly as much as I would like to, because like the part of me is grumpy that the points don't matter past the end of the event. But that's just me, and that's a long-term thing. Anywho, SOCT reports detect ripples drifting, indicating drifter wormhole occupiers have ramped up hyperspace network testing. Remember, there's a big thing, you know, like this. The expansion's coming, and the expansion's all exploration and weird resources and everything. So there we go. Natural gas explosion prevented HZO refinery holdings by native bird population. Is just weird. I don't know. I'd have to look up to see if this is anything to anything. Home Guard presents results of secret investigation in closed CEP session. I just realized I need to actually... I don't know if that... Is that a thing? Let's go look. Nothing there. There's the Dr. Juan Rodolfo. There is stuff about... Oh, there is the Upwell Consortium and Edencom. No. Caldari design documents for... oh, it might be related to the SCUA. It could be the Alliance Tournament stuff. There's the award. Nope, I don't know. That bird is likely a canary type thing. Well, I mean, like everyone, they like to have fun ones that are like just like slice of life. Doesn't really matter. It is interesting. I feel like the HCO refinery, there was an explosion a little while ago, and I don't remember what the details of it. But either way, wait a minute, hold on. Who's this? Wait. Oh, yeah, okay, so there's a new reporter. So we also, I thought that the language of this is different. Like, this is a very different writing style than we've seen before. It's a very well-structured, it actually reminds me a lot more of like that lady that was writing from out of the Zarzak. But so this is, they actually are also introducing a new reporter for the New Eden News, Johanna Marcoso. Okay, that's interesting. All right, I think that's probably about it that I can pull out of this New Eden News. So we will keep an eye on some of these things, but that is all for today. If you're watching this live, of course, keep hanging tight. Otherwise, I've been Ashrathi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even to context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, supporting the stream, etc., etc. Get this out there so that way more people can know about what's going on, and keep track of this stuff, because this stuff is going to be important as we go into the next expansion all the way to next summer with the release of Vanguard. I have been Ashrathi, the voice of New Eden. Until next time, I'll see you in space. Fish going across screen. All right. Do you mean breaking into the gated dead space area with the ship that isn't supposed to be in it? That's an exploit? Yes. I mean, like, usually it's not a big problem, but it is technically considered an exploit. Faster Mach 10 out, 12 outro. I know, right? All right. So, that's interesting. That was the New Eden News. What else is there? There is 15% off Omega in the New Eden store, or in the Eve store. There was one in the Nest, but I checked, it's not there anymore. So now this one exists for the next few days, 26th of October. Just to go poke at it really quick. Yeah, it looks like it is a discount off of the base thing, and then on top of that, the skins, right? So I hope that makes it. That's my quick answer on, is this worth it? Well, it's the discount off plus the skins, and these skins are actually pretty cool. Let's go look at them. Let's see, which one is it? Shattered Paradigm. I think we looked at those not too long ago. Let's just look at the Skybreaker. Oh yeah, yeah. These are the ones that look really cool, but they are related. These are oddly enough Alliance tournament ships, or like the IGC does like the tournaments and stuff, which is a big deal because the big news for the day or this week. There's a lot going on, guys. There's a lot going on over the next couple of weeks, especially this week. So on Thursday. So in 2 days as of this recording, there is the live test, which we will be able to, our first look at stuff for the expansion. And then this weekend is the Alliance tournament. So let's actually jump from this. See, the Alliance tournament, 24th, 25th, and 26th. So Thursday is the live test, is the mass test, and then the day after is the beginning of the Alliance tournament. And the Alliance tournament goes for all 3 days. It's a really cool deal. There's a lot more information about it. I'm not going to go too much into it right now because we've got too much other stuff to talk about. But I will definitely be watching it on my Discord. You can come watch it with me, etc., etc. Also, then immediately after is the CSM election. Okay, so I was going to make a quick rant about like my recommendations for the CSM election, but I want to do that with my camera on so you can see my face as I'm doing, you know, I can gesture or whatever. So I will give my rant about who I think you should vote for or recommendations for who to vote for. But just a TLDR, for those of you who do not know, we have a Council of Stellar Management, which is a player body that is elected by the players that are held under NDA, so are allowed to see information from CCP early and help kind of shape development, or at least, you know, are able to give feedback and such to CCP early. So they're a very important organization. And from the 27th of October to the 10th of November is going to be the voting period. And so like every year, everybody's like, I used to do interviews or whatever. CCP is doing interviews. There's 56 candidates. That's a lot of candidates. And so normally, like, a lot of people ask me like, oh, who to vote for and all that sort of stuff. So I do want to put out like a formal, like, my thoughts on the CSM and who to vote for. But I want to do that with my camera on. So we're going to just brush over that right now. I guess it would make sense. It would take an hour and a half, but I guess you could have people camping a C3 and a curse if they had enough patience. Well, so I don't know if it's always a full exploit. I know that it was created, it like announces an exploit with faction warfare sites, explicit, like whatever. But yeah, it is no, like you can slow burn through and past an acceleration gate, but yeah, it's definitely not something you should do. Anywho, also the curse doesn't have to slow boat because the curse can just use the gate because nobody can see the curse because of D-scan. You'd want to slow boat somebody with like a covert ops cloak or something. Either way, I digress. I guess you could slow boat the curse into something that doesn't allow a curse. That's a good point. Either way, doesn't matter. Also, in the news, Pochfin structures have been wiped out. The Kybernauts doing Bob's, or I guess the convocation of Triglav outside of the struggle's work, have destroyed 2 more of the major structures in Pochfin. Good for them on that. It's an exploit. They probably won't care if you run the 3 of 10 and T3C, but at that point you spent so much time. Yeah, exactly. It's more about like to kill somebody that isn't supposed to, or whatever. But yeah. Also in the news, we have Operation Nemesis Ends had a rap video. We're going to jump into that real quick. $54,000 contracts completed, 237 convoys.
Command center online.
Upwell Consortium most accepted contract. Interesting. That's pretty funny, isn't it? Because these are Vanguard. So like the most contracts done by Vanguard were for Upwell. That's pretty funny. $794 kills with a shotgun by one dude. Gray Rat has the most deployments. 18 million units of biomass. I don't know anything about the chunker. Blue orbs found. Wait, hold on. That now they're just, oh, blue orbs found 1. I bet, so now that they say that, I bet you this was just a mistake. Green Goblins found 4? I never saw the Green Goblins. I really like the Nemesis event. I can't wait for the next one, or next year or whatever. All right. Let's see. I just want to make sure everything that we're supposed to. Oh, yeah. There's the monthly economic report. Should we do the monthly economic report? I think I want to just talk about the expansion. I want to talk about the expansion. Let's talk about the expansion, guys. Where is it? Here we go. All right. Catalyst expansion. Holy shit. Like, we knew that this was going to take, this announcement was coming sooner rather than later. This is about right, especially since 18th of November. This always seems to, like, jump on me, but, they usually have, a bunch of dev chats, like, once a week or whatever, leading up to the expansions. Yeah, it is another ship name, and this time it's a Galente ship. I wonder if that's a clue. No. It has already been pointed out on Reddit that, like, the mining expansion is named Catalyst, which is really funny. But very excited. Let's go ahead and check this out. Illustrious Capsuleers. Mining is the foundation of all activity in EVE Online, with entire empires being born from a single rock. The Catalyst expansion coming on the 18th of November highlights it as the front line of power. A new, highly valuable ore will spark a new resource rush, and Capsuleers will once again wield the mightiest ships in pursuit of extraordinary riches. Well, we could get 3 dev videos leading up to it. Well, yeah, we'll see. Because, like, we could get 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that we would probably get at least 4 or 5, because there's going to be the 4, and then, like, Monday or whatever right before it, we'll get the whatever their top tier name guys, not developer, what's the word for, like, CCP Burger and CCP Ritati, and either way, whatever. No. They have, like, the developer, they have expansion focus ones, but then there's always that final one, which is, like, the top people's discussion. What are their names? Director? I think it's director chat. Yes, it's the director notes or whatever. That's what it is. I'm pretty sure. Either way, let's keep going. TLDR. The expansion comes out on the 18th of director chat. Yeah. 18th of November, a new unpredictable ore ignites galaxy-wide resource rush. Hyperspace fractures reveal volatile asteroid fields rich in prismaticite. Command new ships, the Pioneer Mining Destroyer and Odysseus Exploration Ship. Although what's interesting is we're going to look into this. The Pioneer Mining Destroyer is not just one ship. So we're going to see what's going on with that. Mind refine with faster cycles, critical hits, and improve UI. Explore the stars with a new 2D map. Start your journey with a new epic arc. And carriers updated, Plex logs added, and much more to come. So, Prismaticite. Yes. Okay. Resource rush. Mining is now becoming an increasingly dynamic, rewarding, and fiercely contested, with mysterious hyperspace fractures revealing volatile asteroids rich in a powerful ore. So, very visually cool. And I think if we look down right down here, like, we have the rock, we have this thing here in the middle. We have what looks like a rock, and then we have a looks like a thing right there. I don't know if that's maybe that's the wormhole that it's coming through. We're going to have to look into this, because there is, like, a structure that's going to be deployed. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what we're looking at here, but I wonder whether or not that's the structure right there, but I'm not sure. All right, discover phased fields and bring your fleet to harvest great riches, but at great peril. Dispatch new phase-anchored deployables to be able to mine the mysterious asteroids and their prismaticite they contain, but act fast before the fracture closes. So, this is, by the way, just jumping into this, this is Gold Rush, right? So my bet is that phased fields will be either visible on the map, or will be like a new kind of thing to be able to scan down and find, or something. And then you have to find it and deploy these fields. Now, there is a discussion about this on the forums. I believe they pointed out that the phased fields last for 40 hours by default. And the beacon will appear on the in space only when the final 2 rocks appear, which are apparently the best ones. So, Prismaticite, a new type of erratic and extremely valuable ore, refines into different minerals at random. Although by using reactions to reprocess the ore, you control the outcome. So basically, if you get this stuff and you just reprocess it, it randomly reprocesses to one or another. They say this somewhere else, but or you can do reactions, which remember, reactions cannot be done in high sec, only in low sec, null sec, and wormhole space. By doing reactions, you can basically transform the mineral or the ore into a thing that reprocesses to a very specific mineral instead. So if you're willing to do a reaction, you can then turn it into guaranteed isogen, for example. New industrial and exploration ships expand strategic options, but danger lurks at every junction. The fight for resources fuels creation, destruction, connection, and conflict across the cluster. Whether you rise to build or strike to destroy, every story begins with ore. They are scanned down for the first 2 days. Yeah, hold on. I opened up all of these different things to be ready for this. And of course, obviously, you can't always have it everything. You always forget something, right? Where is it? Yeah, here's more of the details. So, wait, is it? That's the news item that we were just looking at. Feature preview. Yeah, here we go. Here's more information. This is a new type of mining site that we're releasing with the expansion. It is intended to be a highly rewarding site. In this site, there are 4 phased asteroids as well as regular asteroids. Phased asteroids cannot be mined normally, but can only be mined while they are inside of an object in the site called the fracture, which will slowly move from one end of the site to the other end. Oh, interesting. The total duration of the site is around 40 hours. While phased asteroids are inside the fracture, they will activate and become mineable. However, players will only be able to mine them at 10% efficiency unless they deploy and charge up a new mining deployable called the Mobile Phase Anchor. Mobile Phase Anchors are cheap structures that should cost about 5 million ISK. They can be deployed by anyone, but must be deployed within 50 kilometers of a phased asteroid. Once deployed, only the industrial command ship is capable of connecting to one to provide it with energy. Once the mobile phased anchor has enough energy, then it will become active and begin attempting to phase in the phased prismaticite. After 60 seconds, the phased prismaticite will be phased in and can then be mined at 100% efficiency for the next several minutes. It will go back to being phased out again, or then it'll go back to being phased out again. Mobile phase anchors have 6 activations, and 1 activation will be consumed for each phase in attempt. The energy required to phase the anchor can be provided by 1 Rockwall, 2 Orcas, or 3 Porpoises, or a combination of these ships. The new site must be discovered with scan probes and does not appear on the overview like regular ore sites. However, after approximately 20 hours have passed since it was first discovered, the site will spawn a beacon which will appear on all players' overviews, and will also be discoverable on the world map from anywhere in New Eden. So it's not available on the world map until after 20. So you get 20 hours with it undetected and 20 hours with it detected, I think. The last 2 phased asteroids in the site feature the largest amount of prismaticite, and the fracture will not reach them to activate them until the site is visual on the world map, meaning everyone will know about the phased field site when the last 2 asteroids are active. Prismaticite itself is especially erratic, but incredibly valuable. Unlike regular asteroids, when prismaticite is reprocessed, it can randomly become any mineral in the game and has a variable quantity rather than a fixed quantity like other ores. For example, you could refine 100 units of prismaticite and get tritanium, and then refine 100 units of prismaticite and get isogen. If you want something more control over what mineral type it will become, you can perform a reaction job on compressed prismaticite to convert it into unrefined minerals, which can then be able to be reprocessed into a specific mineral type. That is cool. So going back to what we were just looking at, we can probably have a better idea of what we are actually looking at here, right? So it looks like this here, the yellow thing, this is the rift, clearly. This is one of the rocks. So this rift is traveling along this beam, right? So this beam is the rift's path, most likely. And the rift itself, like the point along the path that it is right here. So as you can see, eventually this rift will get to this rock. And when that happens, this rock will be mineable. But it sounds like you'll also be able to, I don't know if these both have to happen at the same time. That's the one thing I'm not 100% sure about, because like it sounds like when the rift hits the asteroid, you can mine them at 10% efficiency. Or, oh, okay. So hold on. Phase asteroid, they can only mine while they are inside of an object, the site called the fracture, which will slowly move from one end. I wonder if that, oh yeah, the total set is 40 hours. So it's two of them happen in the first 20 hours, 2 of them in the second 20 hours. I assume that you can only deploy the mobile phase anchors in a useful way when the nexus is actually on the rock, rather than like making it so that you can, I think both have to be true for you to be able to mine it at 100%. I don't think it's one or the other. But what's interesting about this is that, like, they say here, a Rockwall, 2 orcas, or 3 porpoises. So, like, this is actually fascinating because, like, this is the kind of site that you're going to actually want to be able to, like, defend and loot. So this isn't necessarily, like, a single person or whatever. Like, Rockwalls are really cool because they'll be able to do the jumping. Like, they'll be able to jump the whole fleet to the site once it gets there. But I see this less of, like, a guy going in and ninjaing some stuff and more of, like, a fleet of people, like, skiffs with, like, double orca support. You actually are forcing, at this point, enough command on the field that the idea of, like, them mother henning and being the Logi of the fleet, like, this is a meaty squad that you can bring to these things, in theory. You know, you can have skiffs with orca and or porpoise or Rockwall support, plus whatever else with you in order to control these sites. Could be pretty cool. Obviously, if they happen in high sec, then it's going to be more of a mad dash than anything else. But I predict these are going to be a big thing in low sec and null sec as well. And if so, like, the idea of, like, hey, let's go do this thing is such a big, like, this is a big thing for, like, a group of maybe 5 to 10 people that really want to go, like, hardcore and loot things, or like raid stuff in low sec, or like exciting moments, gold rush stuff. Like, I think that this has a lot of potential. I don't think Rockwalls should be let in unless it's in the null sites. There is no let in. There is no beacon. There's no beacon. This is just a scan down. You warp it, or there's no acceleration gate. It's just a scan down and whatever. But you need so the Rockwall will be able to activate it by itself. But the idea that you have to have 2 orcas is pretty wild by itself. I see these as being, like, I think that Rockwalls should be let in because these are natural escalation points. Right? These are something to fight over for 2 days, potentially. All right. Let's keep going. Oh yeah, you like, even here you can see the Rockwall. Here's the Rockwall mining the prismaticite while it's in the rift. All right. New industrial and exploration ships expand strategic options, but danger lurks at every junction. The fight for resources fuels creation, destruction, connection, and conflict across the cluster. Whether you rise or build or strike and destroy, every story begins with ore. Pioneer, a new mining destroyer. Level up your industry game with the Pioneer, a perfect middle ground between mining frigate and mining barges. Even the brand new Capsuleers can obtain the new mining destroyer after only a few hours in New Eden and fly it as alphas. There's even more to unlock for Omegas 2, so this vessel can scale as you realize your industrial ambitions. Overall, there'll be 3 versions of the Pioneer, including a Tech 2 version and a consortium issue variant. That is so weirdly phrased, isn't it? Like, since when do you say that there's, like, you don't, like, you would normally introduce the Tech 1 is the Pioneer and the Tech 2 is the, I don't know, we'll go with Kingpin or Penguin or whatever, right? Like, you would announce them both at the same time. The idea that there would be a Tech 2 version of the Pioneer, like, I could see a Pioneer consortium issue, but you never think of like a Tech 2 version of a Pioneer with it only being, it's just so strangely worded compared to the way that we normally think about these things. So what they're actually saying is that there are 3 different ships, the Pioneer, the Consortium issue Pioneer, and whatever this Tech 2 one is, which we don't actually know, which it could very well be a command destroyer. There could be command pieces to it, but there's no. It could very well be like in the same way that expedition frigates are their own thing. This would be like an expedition destroyer, right? They should add some danger when inside the fracture. Concord response system can't detect lawbreaking. Well, again, like there's a reasonably decent chance that these fractures are not going to happen in HiSec. And even if they do, like the competition over of them is going to make them much less valuable to a group. Maybe being able to find it early is going to be valuable. Yeah, I don't know. I think the HiSec one is going to have an interesting dynamic to it. Expedition Command Ship is a new class with of a ship with its own skill. Yes, all Tech 2 is. That's the point. That's my point in this conversation, is that like saying that there's a Tech 2 version is very confusing in this regard. But either way, because Tech 2 is not the same as like a Navy. So we don't actually know anything about the Tech 2 version or why it will be different, only that there supposedly will be one. And here is what it looks like. It looks like a little crabby boy. That looks like something else's drone, doesn't it? It is a command destroyer, is confirmed from the Sissy feature forum post. Okay, great. Thank you, Satonia. So it's a command destroyer from the Sissy. Hold on. I'm assuming that's in the information panel, right? No, I don't see that. Expedition Command Ship. Oh, okay. What it's the thread that you were just looking. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Thank you. New ships. Here we go. Singularity will have an early preview of the five new ships that we plan to release in the expansion. The Pioneer Mining Destroyer, the Outrider Command Destroyer, the Venture, and the Pioneer Consortium issue. I assume. Wait. Wait, what? Hold on. So I'm assuming that there's a Venture. Oh, I got you. So there's a Venture Consortium issue and a Pioneer Consortium issue. And the SOE Expedition Command Ship will all be available to at least look at. These ships will not be obtainable in Singularity, and you'll not be able to fly them in space. However, you'll be able to simulate them and see an early version of their proposed stats and bonuses. It should be noted that the graphics for these ships are still in active development and not representative of the final version of them. We would also like to remind everyone that this is a test server and things are actively changing in an active development. So yeah. And we will be talking about this more during the live test, but there you go. So it's the Outrider Command Destroyer. And I'm assuming from all of this that OR is producing both of these. Or at least, you know, Upwell. So there you go. So given that it is a command destroyer, I guess my one question for you, Satonia, if you wanna like answer a question or not, you can also just say not. But like, will this Outrider Command Destroyer count for the phased beacons, or are you going like, because you don't have them listed here, so it'd be Orca, Porpoise. So I'm assuming that it can't. So what command bursts are they going to have? That's what I want to know. Either way, next. This is, I think, the thing that has most people the most excited about, at least me. Maybe I'm showing off my own bias here, but the Odysseus Exploration Command Ship has so many questions. So many questions. It looks amazing. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it animated. I can't wait to see its stats. With the new Expedition Command Bursts and a massive new exploration hold You can stay out longer, venture further, and carry more loot back home. I am going to fucking live in this thing for a long time, I think. So it's got a special bay just for exploration stuff. It's got all of the bonuses that you would expect from a SOE ship, and it including the Relic and Analyzer range bonus, so you can actually hack everything from 2.5 times as far away. You've got gas scoop bonuses, so you could do gas huffing with this thing. And it has exploration command bursts. So if anybody wants to spoil anything about what the hell exploration command bursts are going to include, that's my number one question right now. That's my number one most like, okay, you've gotten my attention. Now I want to know more. What exactly are going to be exploration command bursts? I have a few guesses. But with that, what is that? It's weird looking. It looks like a science vessel. What are you talking about? It looks like this is a thing that operates in gas and everything like that. It's SOE. So you have this weird, I assume that this back part, like it rotates, right? With this shield. It looks so good. Yeah, like it rotates kind of like the exploration nodes, right, that we hack. And you can even see like they're in different positions in each picture. So yeah, they obviously do. I want to know what exploration command bursts are so bad. I think that, so expedition, not exploration, right? Expedition command bursts. Also, the other neat thing about this, so a couple things to note about this. One, it has the ability to fit a covert ops cloaking device, unlike the Nestor. So it has the range bonuses of the hackers like the Nestor does, but it also can fit a covert ops cloaking device, which is awesome. And it can fit a 0-point mass entangler. And this is where things get really wild. Because the 0-point mass entangler is a very special module that currently exists to only fit on Hicks. Because Hicks are used to roll wormholes, and at one point CCP made a change to Hicks that made it so that they weren't able to be used in the same sort of way that they were before, and so then they came out with the 0-point mass entangler, so that way Hicks can still do that. Which what the 0-point mass entangler does is actually reduces the mass of the ship by 80%. The reason why this is important is, you know, like when you're rolling a wormhole and you're afraid of it collapsing, you can use this thing before you jump through it in order to basically go out your wormhole with almost no mass, like become a needle and just stitch your way through the wormhole. And then like an umbrella, open up on the other side, you know, turn off your module, turn on your microwarp drive, etc., and then jump back into your home hole with like maxed out mass and crash the hole, right? That's how these things often get used. But what this does mean is that the SOE ship, which already SOE ships are known for having fairly small mass for what they are, is going to have this 0-point mass entangler, which means this little dude is probably going to be able to fit into frigate hulls, which is wild. So this thing can go everywhere and do everything. It can mine, it can fight, it can hack, it can bring command bursts, etc., etc., which is one of the reasons why this idea of like expedition command bursts is so interesting, because like what could that even be? You know, some people have proposed things like scanning strength or hacking strength or whatever, but the thing is that like if it's a command burst, you would think that it needs to be something that the entire fleet like could be useful to more than just yourself. Otherwise, why is it not just like a module, right? Why is it a command burst? So there has been an introduction of more like sites that involve multiple people hacking at the same time. And so with that in mind, it could very well be that there could be like a hacking related expedition command burst that allows people to hack better. And so this will help the entire team hack better, because we saw things like that in the Drifter Crisis events, and there is a hacking version of the home fronts. But like they haven't really mentioned anything about new hacking sites per se, but I'm just saying like that is one of the things that could theoretically mean with an expedition command burst. what I would think of to open up my mind a little bit would be like, hey, what about D-scan range, warp speed, you know, such like that. I think that also, like, mining bonuses also affect gas huffing too, right? I was thinking that there might be gas huffing bursts. The other thing is, I wonder whether or not, like, the survey scanner mining burst will be moved to expedition, and instead mining will involve the crit bonuses, because, like, so there's a lot of stuff involving these bonuses that are up in the air that this post only hints at, right? Because, like, another thing is mining refined. Resources harvesting is getting more responsive, immersive, tactical, and rewarding than ever before. While total yield remains the same, faster mining cycles means the progress is more responsive and dynamic. Feel progress every second as your lasers tear through asteroids in shorter, more engaging bursts. What's cool about that, so, like, this reminds me more of the way E-Frontiers is, where, by the way, the E-Frontiers just started a new cycle again. Let me know if you want me to cover that. But so in E-Frontiers, like, it's almost basically every tick, or every couple of ticks, so every 2 or 3 seconds, 1 to 3 seconds, whatever, you get some ore in your cargo hold. And so it sounds to me like they're going to do more like that, kind of, so closer to like a normal laser. And then also crits. Critting mining hits, it brings a thrill to every operation, offering potential bonus yield on successful strikes from your mining laser. All mining lasers have a chance for critical hits, but skills and modules can improve your odds. So skills and modules, expect there to be new skills that improve crits. But this is why I was saying, like, there could be a new mining burst, or hell, an expedition burst that involves increasing your crits. Ash, on the forum post, they talk about the cycle changing. It's 4 times now. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me that it's actually said here. While the focus of the mass test is a phased asteroid site, we've also revamped the UI. We've also added brand new high-sec mining escalations, which can be obtained from the Ombre and Kernite anomalies, which we haven't gotten to yet. Here we go. Mining critical hit. Mining crystals for regular ore mining lasers and strip miners have been decreased by 4x, with a similar decrease in yields, capacity, or mining crystal volatility damage. So mining will feel a lot more responsive and give you more feedback more often, while still producing the same yield over time. So yeah, so it's just everything's sped up by 4 times, or like everything's cut by 1/4. Mining crystal hits, critical hits have been introduced to the game. All mining lasers now have a small chance to critically hit and get bonus to ore and ice. That is an interesting question, because like 4 times probably won't work with ice, but ice can also crit and give you double ice. That'd be cool. The bonus amount from crit is not deducted from the total amount of ore inside of the asteroid either. So this is like anti-waste, right? Because crits are just bonus ore. You'll now also be able to see how full your mining hold is in space on your ship. That's pretty cool. All corvettes and bonus mining ships will now have a built-in asteroid scanner. Oh! All corvettes and bonus mining ships will now have a built-in asteroid scanner, so no more needing that extra module, which can be activated to scan nearby asteroids. The asteroids will glow from yellow, most valuable, to blue, least valuable in terms of ISK per M3, so you don't have to do a bunch of math to figure out what you should be mining. That's... oh, wow. Okay. By fitting a survey scanner, so the module still exists, you'll also be able to see the total amount of ore left in the asteroids. Oh, that's cool. Ice and gas clouds, when you activate this, yeah. The ore industrial command ships will also be able to give everyone the effects of survey scanner while they are in fleet and have one equipped or a command burst effect. Okay. Additionally, many other UI improvements, etc., etc. Cool. And then we can see that video, like this is that effect happening. Oh, I see. Yeah, so that was, if you look, there is the module, but it's offline. He clicked a button underneath the other buttons here, or no, off to the left rather, mining scan. And it says survey scanner 1 required for precise scan results. So this is a new scanner. I don't know why it's on the right-hand side instead of with the rest of the scanners, but either way. You can see like some of the rocks became yellow, some of the rocks became blue. And you can see on there it says asteroid Feldspar, and it actually says how much ISK per M3. It literally just says the ISK per M3, that this is 6,300 ISK per M3, and this is 85,000 ISK per M3. Very interesting. High-sec mining has never looked better. New visual updates to the return of anomaly sites, bringing Omber and Kernite back to high-sec. This is a big deal. That means that Isogen is going to be more available in high-sec now, again. Complete them for a rare chance of high-sec mining escalations, or use your scan probes to discover hidden combat sites with valuable ore. Interesting. Mining mutaplasmids. Mutate your mining modules and drones with potential bonuses. The new mining mutaplasmids introduce risk and reward to industry fittings, letting you push your yield and efficiency to unpredictable extremes. That's pretty cool. I really like that idea. I wonder where they're going to be gotten from. A new way to see the stars. A tactical, easy-to-read 2D map gives Capsuleers the clarity they need for planning and exploration. It's a long-requested feature that enhances both accessibility and strategic gameplay. The new 2D view delivers improved star system visualization, clear jump ranges, and dual data overlay. Dual data overlay, hell yeah. Offering precise navigation and sharper tactical insight directly in-game. It's the new map pilots needed and veterans wanted. Thanks for all the feedback. We do have... Nah, never mind. Nothing really useful there. Both 2D and 3D maps will feature ore availability indicators, enhanced data readability, and customizable scales, including logarithmic options for greater clarity in every view. So that sounds really cool when it comes to finding what we're going to go after. I wonder which market data the info will come from. Probably the regional average, like normal. Abyssal rolling ore strip miners stream when Ash. When somebody contracts me all of it, so that way I don't have to pay for it all. All right, learn the ropes with a new epic arc. Whether you're in warping for New Eden for the first time or just want to explore everything the new expansion has to offer, a new accessible and brief epic arc has got you covered. Explore and experience it in the new mining content through an introductory narrative journey intended to test a new way to introduce expansion content. At the end, you'll have a new Pioneer mining destroyer to launch your mining career. This new arc will introduce the Catalyst expansion to pilots of all experience levels and help new Capsuleers set goals and discover some of the wonders of New Eden. So, because of the fact that the final result is going to be the Pioneer, and I expect that the Pioneer is going to be related to Ore/Upwell, I assume that this epic arc is going to be Upwell's epic arc. Another interesting thing, the question is, like, I wonder if this epic arc is going to tie into the end of the MPE, because, like, the MPE kind of leaves on a cliffhanger and a mining thing. So this could theoretically, like, dovetail into that. I don't know if they're going to link those together with this storytelling, but I do like the idea of introduction of an epic arc as a way of kind of introducing new things within the game. We'll definitely have to see the details about this, but this definitely seems like it's going to be one of the lower tier ones because they talk about how accessible it is. So now you're going to have, like, the SOE epic arc and this epic arc, and this is going to be about the same tier of difficulty, most likely, but more industry mining focused, whereas the other one was more combat focused, right? And then, of course, Plex logs. I'm telling you, this is Punch's expansion. Plex logs. Monitor your Plex flow with new personal Plex transaction logs, bringing transparency by showing where it comes from and how it is spent. The first iteration will display entries for the last 30 days with a cap of 2,000 entries covering inflow and outflow. This is incredibly important. Isn't SOE the unofficial end of the MPE? I mean, yes, I know the SOE epic arc is the unofficial end to the career agent epic arc, or the career agents, as it were. But before the career agents, during the actual, like, NPE part, where it's like air, when you're working for air, like, air kind of leaves you off on a cliffhanger, and they've been kind of in the wings for a little while. So if air decides to work with, coordinate, and whatever with Upwell, I could see this becoming a new piece of that plot, if that makes sense. Either way, so this is a big deal in particular because of people who do skins. Like, right now, if you sell a skin for Plex, and somebody, yeah, even like before the career agent, when you're talking to Calatrix and all them for the air path or the air program stuff. Because like when you go, you get sent out to go mine with that one dude and find the black box, and then they're like, okay, we're going to decrypt this black box and get back to you. And then they never get back to you again because they got raided by those weird pirates that we never found out anything about. Yeah, that plot. Anywho, this is very, very useful for people who do skin stuff, and really anybody, especially as Plex is becoming more and more of a currency that they want us to be like using all the time instead of reserving, like thinking of Plex as being like only for paying for your account or whatever. So little amounts of Plex come and go more often. They need a log for it. People are upset that there is no LP log, and it's bonkers that there is no LP log and why they aren't coming out with these at the same time. But you can see where the priorities are. I'll let you come to your own conclusions as to why they focused on the Plex log before the LP log. Carriers forward. Carriers are receiving a buff to utility, a visual refresh, and a reduction in manufacturing cost. These are not drastic changes, but rather incremental adjustments so we can monitor the effect and work with capsuleers to refine the role in the ecosystem. So this is kind of like how Dreads had a manufacturing reduction in cost. So I imagine it'll probably be reducing them to about the same amount as a Dread. Buff to utility is interesting. Maybe more stuff with command bursts, especially with all of this other work with command bursts coming. I feel like there's an overall rebalance to command bursts possibly happening. But it's hard to necessarily say. But these, like, some of these new models, like, that's a new model, right? These look... They look really good. Are they all new models? Yeah, they're new model. Are they all 3 new models? I think they're just a little bit of a blush up though. Like a, what is it called? A glow up? Get an early taste. If you have an opportunity to see the new hyperspace fractures, rare asteroids, and more mining improvements in advance by jumping into a mass test, and that's, like I said, in 2 days as of this recording, we should be streaming that. So be here for that. I don't think that there are new models, just a retexture. Chimera and Nitties are least changed, it seems. Yeah, I think it's the Galente one. Thanatos is the one that is standing out to me the most. Let's look. Oh yeah, no. That's not just a new texture. That's not just a new texture. Hold on. Look. That's it now. That's it then. This is not just a new texture and lighting, okay? Maybe not the other ones. The hell looks the same with some new lightings and maybe some extra doodads. I'll believe, like, the Chimera look pretty similar to what it does. This looks like it's just a little bit polished, maybe some new lights. But this immediately jumps out at me. Like, you can see, like, this right here and that. They're not the same model. They're not even... look, this has the bridge, right? This the little mining, or the little drone opening place. And they moved the drone opening place backwards. So, yeah, this is a lot more angry. All right. I think that's it. So we do have a lot of information. Is there anything else here? I don't think so. Is any other further information down below? I think that's about it for now, guys. We'll be back in 2 days in order to look at more of the details. Might be a reflection of the... I mean, it really is in reflection of the new Galente, or like, not new, but like the Galente design style that they've had for the last several reworks, basically since the Vexor got redone. It reminds me a lot of the Vexor redo. Let's see. Anything else to cover today? We have covered a lot today. Yeah, well, we're not all the way done. Actually, I do want to cover a little bit of Eve Frontiers before we go. I thought I was gonna this stream was gonna go for like 3+ hours with the amount of stuff there is, but my rant for about the CSM is gonna have to wait till I have my camera working again. So that was probably a whole hour by itself. Either way, Eve Frontier roadmap update. So Cycle 3 just started. We have a couple people that have been having fun with that. It started on the 15th of October, but they've also announced that the Cycle 4 is going to be in December. Cycle 5 is going to be in March. So the focus of this current cycle is... hold on. Shh, Galente people. All right. Coming in Cycle 3. So that's what's happening right now. This stuff is not out yet, but it is what's coming in this cycle. So creative base building, which is basically better UI for putting things in your base, including vertical placements and flexibility in building. Also, new controls for industry. Industry becomes more intuitive and continuous. It starts with the death of batch jobs. Keep your structures powered with enough input materials, and it'll keep producing indefinitely. So yeah, you can just basically feed inputs into a thing and just make a machine that turns one type into another type, it sounds like, which is pretty awesome. And then when you die, you're going to have more control about how and where you respawn. There's going to be new ships. They're working on the WASD control, keyboard control, and new rewards for exploration. Then Cycle 4 is where I'm going to be really interested, because they say that overhauled ship controls, character progression system, clone creation, and tribal base building. So that's, to me, I don't know about you guys, but that's my tripwire for suddenly becoming actually interested in playing the Frontier. Right now, with everybody having their own base, it's kind of there's a lot of limits to that. People have been making it work, but whatever. So the idea that we can build our own tribal area instead of a bunch of individuals, I think, to me at least, that's the point where I start to pay very close attention. And there's also distinct ship roles and attributes, and base progression and richer worlds. So I assume that this is maybe not skills. It's interesting that they avoid using the word skills. So we'll have to see how it all works. And then, of course, Cycle 5, which is, way in the future at this point. Well, March of next year. We see scanning and signature system, base attack and defense, new ships and sites, travel overhaul, updated HUD, and the migration to their new blockchain system, which I don't know a whole lot about SUI, but my understanding is that SUI is a really good choice over Ethereum. That's what I know so far. Yeah, being able to group up will drag me back in for sure. All right. Yeah, I think that should about wrap things up for today. So on Thursday, we will talk more about the expansion and what's coming when we have more information. But thank you guys for coming. I've been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put Eve into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys so much for showing up, hanging out, liking, commenting, subscribing, contributing to the chat, sharing it with a friend, etc., etc. You guys are the best. But I also want to give my shout out to my top supporters, which would include Arydanika the Queen, Bad Boy Smooth, 745 MPSI, Ebo Elite, Erladis, Elange, Flash Gordon, May, Malak Starfire, Malin, Mercuton, Mayak, Neelam, LM1, Sheesh, Susuro, and Rid. Thank you guys so much. If you want to join them, you can become a supporter. Even the low-level supporters get my edited videos early. And, emotes and in my supporter chat where we talk about things and, more directly. And there's merchandise, etc., etc. But I have been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and like I said, hopefully I'll be able to stream on Thursday. If not, expect to see some of the segments that we've been doing edited out and put on the YouTubes. But all that said, until next time, I'll see you in space.